Hey there YouTube, this is SJM4306 back with another exciting episode of TeardownTube. So today's video we're going to be tearing down the Vita TV, which I have right here. This is essentially a consoleized PS Vita that was released by Sony kind of towards the end-ish of the life. These go for pretty cheap now, well ish. I've been noticing recently they're rising in price. But I got this really cheap during a period of time when people are speculating that Sony was discontinuing the Vita. So they were trying to, manufacturers were trying to dump these. There were loads of sellers online selling just the console and the cables, no controllers, nothing else, for like sub $30. So I decided to pick one up since I do play Vita games quite a bit, and I thought it'd be pretty neat to be able to play them with a DualShock 3 controller and over HDMI. So yeah, just a quick overview. We have the Sony emblem kind of embedded into the plastic of the front. The front's glossy, but all the other sides are matte black, which pretty nice because it doesn't pick up fingerprints other than the front. We have a tiny little power indicator here that lights up white when it's on. We have the game card slot, and I have a game card in here right now. It's East Salcida. And yeah, you'll notice it looks a lot like the memory sticks, the Memory Stick Pro Duos that Sony released before for the PSP, except for this is a different format. It's encrypted. Yeah, it's more secure, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We have our power button here. We have the memory card slot, and it's one of the biggest thing that annoys me that Sony did. They use a proprietary memory card that no other device uses, and that costs like 10 times the amount that a micro SD card would cost. So I think that's really the nail in the coffin for the system. Great system, great games, but who can afford to actually buy these memory cards to load games up? Because not only do you have to buy the games, which are like $30, $40 a pop or more, you also have to buy a memory card that costs $50, $100 or more to be able to actually hold any considerable amount of your game collection. So it was just sort of ridiculous. They shot themselves in the foot, and it just annoyed loyal fans. I'm a loyal Sony fan. I've loved the PSP, PS2, PS3 systems, so I really wanted the Vita to succeed, and I'm a little bit disappointed, but I still enjoy it for what it is. I just buy retail games on the memory card on these cards. As opposed to downloading them because who can afford that. So anyway, we have a USB port here, HDMI, it does 720p. We have Ethernet as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, and a DC jack, and this will actually work with the PSP charging cord, interestingly enough. So yeah, it's just 5 volts 2 amps and it works. So yeah, we'll get right into it, and we'll open this puppy up. Okay, so after prying around the seams, it's easier to start, I find, from this front lip. You can slightly pull out the plastic. You get a pry tool in there, and you very carefully lever it out, and it'll bow out the front portion here, and you can work your way around to the sides. There are 2 clips, one on this corner and one on this corner here. Once you get them out, you can work this clip out, as well as the last one, which is in this corner here. And afterwards, you just can sort of lift it out very carefully. And you'll notice that the plastic is actually reinforced with metal here, which is pretty interesting. It gives it a little bit of weight, and it makes it more robust. So yeah, this is the inside of the Vita TV. There's a couple screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on this shielding plate, and then another additional one here as far as I can see. So let's get those out. Okay, important thing to know is this one screw, the silver screw's up in the corner here, and that's the only one that's different than all the other ones. And interestingly enough, I had this screw actually wasn't in here, which is interesting. I bought this used, but I don't think it's been opened, so maybe they just added a spot for a screw and figured they didn't need it. So yeah, let's see. I've never taken this off before, so let's see how this is exactly going to work. Okay, so there's probably a thermal pad or something. Yep, that's what was sticking it down. Now I don't want to bend the frame here, So I'm going to take some extra precaution. Yep, okay, so then you slide it to the left here, and then we can pull this pad off, and it'll reveal a thermal pad. So on the other side of the board here, there's going to be the main processor, I'm going to guess. This is just to kind of suck some of the heat through the bottom of the board. And there's a Samsung memory chip here. So the interesting thing is, as opposed to the portable Vitas, which the first generation one didn't have any internal memory, but I believe the second gen and the Vita TV both have 1 GB built in, which is kind of it's a nice compromise because the memory cards are proprietary. So at least if you bought it and you didn't have any memory cards, it's a slight consolation. So you can at least use it to download games without having to go out and shell out another ridiculous amount. So one screw that we were missing here, and we just pull that out, and it's all loosey-goosey now, so we should kind of be able to just lift it out, and we are able to. Wow. So yeah, interesting. It looks like this metal shielding plate is injection molded into the ABS outer frame, which is very interesting. Yeah, little fingers that come down and touch the top shielding plate. Oh wow. Yeah, so there's actually a clear plastic that's molded inside the black plastic, and it forms a light guide for the power LED as well as the mounting post for these screws. That's very interesting why they went with molding, you know, clear plastic inside when it's an entirely unnecessary step. They could have done this in black plastic and just had a separate piece for here. But it just goes to show that Sony kind of tends to go above and beyond in terms of like their hardware quality. So yeah, interesting. This is labeled Dole 1001, and there's what appears to be an unpopulated connector here, a flat flex cable. So I almost wonder what exactly the purpose of that was. You can see some kind of test interface and a couple what looks like a matched pair, like matched impedance traces, kind of go snake over to this area here. And we have our Wi-Fi chipset in this corner here, as well as some power supply stuff. It looks like maybe some HDMI protection or something like that. Some power supply stuff looking. And yeah, and we have our, let's see, memory card slot is here, DC jack, Ethernet obviously, which surprisingly takes up quite a bit of room. I mean, it's shielded, but yeah, we have our HDMI and USB. And then finally our game card slot here. So yeah, let's see about carefully lifting this shielding plate, because there also should be a thermal pad on this guy as well. I'd like to keep it as intact as possible. Yeah, so just carefully wiggling it. We can remove, that's very interesting, this custom stamped metal plate. I mean, everything's custom in here, but yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it looks like the main, I'm assuming that's like the main processor or something, has its own tin. And it has a thermal pad on top of that as well, which is very odd. So let me just take a pocket knife and very carefully remove, if I can. Sorry about that jump cut. I ran out of memory on my phone, which I'm currently using to film. So anyway, underneath this shielding plate with a thermal pad is another thermal pad, and underneath that thermal pad is another. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna guess that's the main processor. I'm not gonna bother lifting, you know, the actual silica pad or whatever that is off there. But yeah, it's just a BGA large package chip, and that's pretty much just going to be the main processor and everything else associated with that. So we're just going to put this back on. Yeah, when we go to reassemble this and screw everything in, it's just going to compress all these pads together, so it'll be fine. And here we have another chip in a very interesting package. I don't think that's ceramic. I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess that's the Ethernet something having to do with Ethernet because of its location. And there's a very interesting, I guess that's an inductor or something. I've never seen that package before. Very interesting. Anyway, yeah, there's really not that much in here, and we have just a few. I think these are chip antennas, because this unit has Bluetooth for the DualShock wireless controllers as well as Wi-Fi. So these are going to be essentially antennas in a chip, and so you can see that they're very small. They take up a lot less room than board antennas, where they have like the snake-shaped traces on the board. So yeah, that's pretty neato, I gotta say. A little tiny tack switch. Oh, that's adorable for the power button. So yeah, it's pretty compact. I'm guessing these are pretty much all the main components in the Vita anyway. They just took out everything unnecessary, like the controls. If you look at my teardown for the Vita, I think the main board's about maybe almost this size, something like that. So it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble everything now, and we'll be back together in no time. So there we are, we're back together, and I guess just as a proof of concept, I'm going to hook this up to my projector and show you guys that everything still works just fine. So I'll be back in a sec. So here's my AV setup. Pardon the crudity of the handheld whatnot. So I have a modded Bose sound dock, and I got this at a flea market for pretty cheap. It's really banged up. The internal amplifier was dead, so I modified it with the Class D amplifier so I can just hook up audio and video and whatnot. Here's the Vita TV that I just put back together. Here's a ZTE Android projector, so we can turn on HDMI. And I'm just projecting onto my wall right now, and you can see, let me turn on my controller here. Okay, so yeah, you can see everything is working. I'm projecting, that's maybe what, 45 inch image with my lights turned on, mind you. This is a 100 lumen projector, and my controller is dead actually, so I'm having to plug it in to charge it right now. But you can see, yeah, it still works. I can go and I can fire up. It's been a while since I've used this. Where's my? There we go. So we can fire up East just to show you that it works. Load times are about comparable to the original Vita. I don't have the newer one, so I can't specify. But yeah, you can see it. It's all working. It's loading up. It's running directly via HDMI, so this projector is only WVGA, so it's 854 by 480, but that's pretty good actually, more than I'd need anyway. The Vita TV does a maximum of, I think, 720p. So yeah, you can just start up a game. Really hard playing with one hand. And there we go. Everything works. Yeah, I'm playing with one hand, so not gonna go so well. Anyway, so yeah, that was my teardown of the Vita TV. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and hopefully I'll be back soon with some more videos. So until then, I'll see you guys later.